Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox from Doctor's Nutrition on Cal Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning. It is a live call-in show in which we normally would pick a topic and talk about that, invite you to call in and ask questions regarding that. But the first Monday of every month, we do what we call Open Line Monday. So you can call in and ask about any health questions that you have, any issues you or a loved one that you might want to ask about. Our phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. So,
Yep.
Everybody have a good Easter?
Yeah.
How about you?
I did. I
Good.
had went to church with my sister and her family, and then
Good.
went and had lunch. I had some blackened salmon.
Oh, that's good for you.
Yes, I know.
Good. Yeah.
I could hear y'all over my shoulder going, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that'll work.
So anyway, any questions that you might have regarding health or anything? Do you have a study over there you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, and it's the common chemicals, it's household chemicals. And not only household, but in personal care, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And Case Western Medical School did a study on it, and this has been coming out in the research, gosh, for years. It's not anything brand new, but the study's new. And they looked at over 1,800 chemicals that are used in disinfectants. And think about COVID, people were freaky about disinfectants. I mean, totally freaky. And all these chemicals, there's a compound called organophosphates. Now you see those and you flame retardants, and you've probably seen some of the research that tells you just how bad they can be for you. You might be better off with something burning than some of these organophosphates, you know. So anyhow, that was a biggie, because that and something called quaternary ammonium compounds. The QACs, or quaternary ammonium compounds, God, they're in everything. Your disinfectants, think about something like benzoyl chloride, which is one of the big disinfectants and so on. You got benzene and chlorine together, bam, double whammy. And what happens is it tends to cause damage to something that you didn't even know you had. It's called an oligodendrocyte. Okay, and
Who did what?
yeah, oligodendrocyte. What that is the little brain cell that makes actual myelin. Now, what does myelin do? Myelin is the insulation that keeps the wires from crossing in the brain. So if we damage it, if we damage the cells that make the myelin, we're going to have problems with myelin problems. And we see so many, and within the past, 5 years, we've seen so many neurological conditions.
Definitely.
Everything from Parkinson's, you name it, to dementia's on the rise. I mean, everything.
Well, I think we just did a thing on YouTube where we were talking about how neurological problems as a whole have taken over cardiac.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, all these chemicals in the environment are affecting our neurological system.
Yeah.
And, people think of myelin and think of MS immediately, because it's a demyelinating problem.
And it is.
And that is one of the things that actually myelin affects.
Right.
But, some of all your other neurological problems can be affected as well.
Yeah.
So it just, it's kind of scary what's out there, and people think, well, that's okay. You don't know how often we hear from people. We try to tell them, and they don't, really they don't want to try to take the effort to do things without as many chemicals. But it really is. If you're watching our show,
chemicals? Is there a list of these chemicals?
Oh, there's 1,800 of them.
There's 1,800
of them.
So, it's
a lot.
Big list. Okay?
There's a lot.
It's a really big list. But yeah, there are. And the thing about it is, this stuff's everywhere. I mean, look at your personal care. Shampoos, face creams, you name it. I mean, gosh, they're everywhere. And the thing about it, especially like I say, the cleaning agents that you use in the house, those are probably one of the biggies, because they're disinfectants everywhere. Think about all the hand sanitizers and stuff that people used.
Even during COVID, when everybody had to have hand sanitizers, we ordered something specifically that was natural without chemicals.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it didn't kill stuff as well, but you know what?
We survived.
Yeah, exactly, and it was still a hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
But I think it was lavender and alcohol.
Yeah.
Is what and in some sort of a little gel. But I mean, we had ordered something specifically because I think you had to have something available, or everybody wanted something available to the customers at the time when it was really bad. And so we did have stuff like that we made available because it was safer and less chemicals.
Remember the very first movie with Michael Keaton, Batman, when they certain chemicals put together like hairspray or whatever were killing people.
Okay.
The
I
Joker
did
was
not.
doing all this. Good movie. Good movie. Y'all
Kind of what
watch
the
it, but-
study says, you know, okay, well,
there
think
you
about
go.
it, you know. And
But it's real life.
Okay, this is true. This
Yeah.
is true. Question, does magnesium help you sleep?
sure can.
It can. Magnesium is so beneficial on so many different things. Magnesium is what they call a cofactor, so it means it's used in a lot of processes in the body. There's over like 300 different processes in the body that the body has to have magnesium to function.
Right.
But it definitely calms you.
That's the
And
big
does
thing.
help calm the brain. Now there is a type of magnesium that has been more specific for probably sleep and calming. It is more expensive though, that is the downside, but it's
Always.
actually magnesium threonate. So our product is called OptiMag Neuro, and it is a patented magnesium threonate that can actually cross the brain barrier, and it is known to help more with brain and calming. So it is a really good type of magnesium, but any of the magnesiums can be beneficial.
Yeah, one way I always kind of try to explain to patients, you know, is there's two chemicals that we hear a lot about, magnesium being one of them. The other one is calcium. And to contract a muscle takes calcium. To relax that muscle takes magnesium. So can it help you sleep? Well, it can help about anything, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
think about it, you know, it relaxes those muscles. You know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What kind of benefit will I get by adding zinc to my daily regimen of vitamins?
Well, your immune system will thank you and work a lot better, that's for sure.
Zinc's also known as for skin and hair, and I mean, if you start looking, zinc is used in a lot of different things as well. But the immune system is kind of what people it's known for.
Right.
And of course, everybody heard more about zinc during COVID.
Yeah.
Because zinc was one of the things they say you definitely wanted to do to actually help the immune system. And so it definitely helps immune response. And I've seen people over the years that had zinc deficiencies that stayed sick constantly. So when we checked their zinc and it was out of range, then we used zinc and it made a huge difference.
All right.
Yep.
I am 63 years old and suffer with aches and pains and want to eat healthier with allergies. Any diet tips?
Stay away from packaged processed foods.
Yes, if you
Sure.
get away
Because-
from, and if you do have a lot of allergies, I would also stay away from gluten and dairy. They are two of the big ones, and probably soy. So it's just things to stay away from that are known allergens. Although everybody's different on what they're allergic to, and you can be allergic to foods that are good for you. So we do have a food allergy test that we can do, but that is the big thing. Like he said, stay away from packaged processed foods, and then stay away from the known allergens like gluten, dairy, and soy.
Yeah,
All right.
because there's something like 10,000 chemicals
Yep.
or more, actually, here in the United States that the FDA allows into our food
Right.
supply. And the problem is nobody knows
Right.
what it's doing to us.
And packaged processed food has a lot.
They got 9,999. Okay.
All right, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and it's Open Line Monday on the Doctor's Nutrition Show. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. We're doing Open Line Monday today, so you can call in with any questions that you have regarding your health. Viewer called in and said, at nighttime, I suffer with sharp pain in my heels. What could be causing this issue?
Probably one of the biggies, I mean, you see this a lot of times with people that are bedbound. And they've actually got some supports, if you will, for the heels to keep them up off the bed, because one of the things that'll happen is they
You get pressure.
actually get pressure points on them. Actually, you can get sores on them. But one of the biggies is circulation.
It could be circulation, it could be your low back.
Could be.
But like I said, it could just be the pressure that you're putting on the heels the way you're laying in the bed. I mean, that's always, those little cups are very cheap and easy, so try that first, and it doesn't cost much to try it. And if that helps, then it could just be the pressure that's on the heels. But if not, then you got to look at circulation, look at low back problems, things like that. And heel spurs normally hurt more when you're up walking. Rather than when you're laying in the bed.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for your call. Does fasting have any mental health benefits?
Oh yeah, fasting actually, and believe it or not, fasting actually puts you into ketosis, a mild form of ketosis. Makes your body make ketone bodies, and your brain loves them. It really does. And it keeps down the sugar, because glucose is a fast metabolizer in the brain, and the brain will use sugar. And it uses, actually, believe it or not, sitting still, quietly watching TV, doing whatever you're doing right now, your brain is using about 25% of the energy that's going on in your body. Yeah, it's a big dose. And it loves ketones, it really does. So fasting, gets the sugar out of the bloodstream and puts the ketones in the bloodstream. And actually, like I say, our brain loves ketones.
Now, sometimes long-term ketosis will make people start getting depressed.
That's a different story.
Short-term fasting definitely can help. Exactly. We're talking about short fasting definitely can help mental issues.
Yeah. I've heard that long-term fasting is not good for you.
Too long, I don't think so.
No. Normally, there's been quite a bit of research on various kinds of intermittent fasting, which we talk about a lot, how you do that, where you might fast for, say, 16 hours or so, and then eat during a very short period of time. And that's kind of the way we evolved. If you go back and look at, when we have to go out and chase down a brontosaurus rex or something, and and that kind of
I don't know if that's what they'd be catching.
Well, I don't know what they call it.
Well, they go move too fast.
Yeah, they might have moved a little too fast. But when they had to do that, it was either feast and famine. And they'd feast, they'd eat a lot, and then they may have to go on a fast for a day or two, maybe. Who knows how long it took them to find another T-Rex or whatever they were eating at that particular time. So it's been a way that our body is used to doing it, and it stores fat very easily. A lot of people can attest to that. It's how easy it is to gain weight and how hard it is to lose weight. So our body is very good at that, very efficient at it. And then so what we want to do is we want to make the body use up some of those stores, and that's where you get these ketone bodies that our brain really likes. But like I say, long term, if you go, typically they say that you can 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. 3 weeks is pushing it. I mean, that's for some of us, we don't have enough body fat to go for 3 weeks.
Right.
What are a few good supplements for overall wellness?
Actually, for overall wellness, we always say there's a few things everybody needs. One is a good multi. And when I say a good multi, I don't mean ones that have dyes and chemicals and preservatives. Look at your multi. A lot of them out there. And I actually, when people bring stuff into me all the time, I turn around in the back. First thing I do is look at the supplement facts and other ingredients. And if they have loaded with dyes and some of these chemicals that you don't want on your topically on your skin, much less take it internally, look at what's in the things that you're taking. So when I say a good multi, I don't mean just any multi. I mean a good clean multi.
Like what? Like
the one we sell the most of by far is our Megavites 1.
Yeah.
It's a 1 a day, but it has 2,000 D, it has 500 B12, it has 50 CoQ10, it has 25 zinc, it has 70 selenium, so it has enough of some of the main nutrients that you're actually getting enough of it in a 1 a day. It is not dyed, so it's going to be yellow speckled, because people are like, oh, this is speckled. Well, yeah, it's going to be speckled when you don't dye it. So that's what you want, and it doesn't have all the chemicals in it that actually,
Well, we've talked so many times before about how, they've done studies on some of these brands that they sell in your big box stores.
Yeah.
So if you go in there's so much fillers in them, and they are pretty colors.
Yeah, if they're pretty colored, you know
red
it's
dye
dyed.
#2.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that was the big one way back when.
Well, actually, you still see it, and I always say if it is dyed, you don't want it.
Yeah, the thing, we always, when you start talking about that, we always start talking about a good multi. So something like our Megavites 1, something that's dramatically important in health, and that's the omega-3 fatty acids.
Right.
Fish oil. And some people, people say, well, I eat fish. Or what kind of fish do you eat? Oh, catfish. Oh, well, that's not going to do it. Okay. It takes things like cod.
Well, for one, it's fried.
So
they fry it.
And mostly
in vegetable oil, which is
the seed oils are terrible. I could do a whole show on that.
But anyway, so the fish oil, your multivitamin.
Good probiotic.
Probiotic. Always do a probiotic. Our Flora 5014 is, there's 5014 and there's 50B.
Yeah.
So we have two different 50 billion.
Yeah.
So you want that. And then a good antioxidant. And so that's kind of, and we have a new one that is coming out soon. We should have it in the next few weeks. And it's actually going to be called oxidation inhibitor. So it's going to be a multi-source antioxidant that actually has your pomegranate, your quercetin, your resveratrol, your lycopene. It has so many different things in it. And it is going to be a really good overall antioxidant. And then we're actually in the process of putting together those 4 things and doing it like at a reduced cost for the bundle. but that might take us a month to get all that together
that's
and the packaging together, but that is coming.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Pockets on gum are a high number. What are some tips to improve gums?
Well, coenzyme Q10 is always a biggie, but it's limited. The other thing that really helps gums, believe it or not, and you're going to freak out on this one, coconut pulling. And what it is, you take some coconut fat, put it in your mouth, swish it around, keep it there for say 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Long as you can.
As long as you can.
But
okay, and then spit it out, and because you don't necessarily need to swallow that much fat at one time.
Right.
Especially there, but anyhow, and make sure you don't spit it down the sink because it will congeal and it will
clog up the sink.
But yeah,
put it in the garbage can.
Yeah, put it in the garbage can. But it really does a great job at helping to improve gum health. It really does.
And just eating better overall helps gum health too, just because the healthier you are, the healthier your gums are.
Right.
All right. It's 17 minutes after 9 o'clock, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. It's Open Line Monday. So we'll be back for more of your questions and this week's special right after this break. And welcome back. It's 20 minutes after 9 o'clock here on this Monday morning, and we are talking about, well, anything you want to talk about when it comes to your health. Right now, let's take a look at what our special of the week is.
Yeah, it's AF Essentials. And what AF stands for is antifungal. Now, AF Essentials is something we decided to put it on sale because we haven't, I don't know if we have put it on sale, or if we have, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people ask us about Candida and actually what you can do for fungal problems.
Right.
Now, people say, well, what are fungal problems? Now, if you have like the little bumps that come when you get in the heat, that's usually fungal. Athlete's foot, jock itch, nails, fungus. You can have fungus all over different places in the body. And yeast infections of any kind. So that's what it's for, is antifungal. So it actually does help with killing off the fungus.
Yeah, and of course we're just coming out of winter, and a lot of people got sick, took antibiotics.
Yep.
And right now recently I've seen an uptick in a number of people coming in looking for this very things.
Right.
What have you got for fungus? And so they're having these issues, and it's probably secondary to, they took their antibiotics, but then they didn't replace, the good bacteria. They didn't take a probiotic or anything.
We always said if you do get a yeast problem or a fungal problem, there's a few things you need to do. One is something like AF Essentials to kill it. Then you want a probiotic like Flora 50B, and then you got to cut out the sugar in your diet to keep from feeding it. So there's like a 3-prong approach we use for fungal issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If matter of fact, the Flora 50B, I had some stomach issues, started having some a few years ago, and they put me on the Flora 50B, and I've been great ever since then.
Yeah.
Really
Probiotics, everybody needs them. That's one of the things that we think is essential.
Even if you're not sick, they're
exactly.
great. It's great for your gut.
It's one to keep you from getting sick,
Exactly.
actually. Yeah.
Arthritis fingers that don't bend, what are some tips to improve movement without surgery?
Go ahead.
First thing I'd do is Pernimax.
Yeah.
We have a product called Pernimax. Now, it is not going to straighten them up completely because that is deformation of the bone that has taken a lot of time to get there. Now, what it will do is take out a lot of the inflammation and swelling, which will make you be able to move them. And Pernimax works so good on the hands. And so that's why that's one thing that when people come in, they can't believe the difference in their hands when they actually take Pernimax.
And then, once you get something like that, you want to work on moving. Whatever movement you can do.
Yeah, moving
even
helps
if it's just
movement.
an itty bitty bit.
Yeah.
Work on it because
Get you a tennis ball. And
there's tons of those exercises, things like tennis ball's the cheapest way to go, and they make little grippy thingies.
Because movement helps lubrication, but you have to be able to move them first to be able to do that.
Right.
So that's why I say you got to do something like the Pernimax. We have other anti-inflammatories as well, but that's number one, as long as you're not allergic to shellfish. But that's number one because I see it makes the biggest difference in hands.
It sure does.
All right, what do you recommend for boosting my immune system?
There's a host of things. I mean, seriously. Number one thing, believe it or not, the number one thing probably is that probiotic.
Yep.
Because 70 to 80% of your gut, depending on who you listen to, 70 to 80% of your immune system is in that gut. So if we have a healthy gut, we're getting to have a healthier immune system. So it's all about that. Starts in the gut. Health starts in the gut. You've heard that 1,000 times, I'm sure. We've said it at least 900 times.
Yeah.
And so at least. And so there's where you start. Then from there, gosh.
Arabinogalactin,
Oh, yeah.
which is a type of it's actually a prebiotic. If you really get into it, it feeds your probiotics, but at the same time, it does boost the immune system. We have something called DMG, or dimethylglycine. It's great at increasing the immune system. We have a product called Mycoactive that's a mushroom combination. Great for the immune system. Lion's mane, we have, which is a different mushroom. We have all the different mushrooms separately as well. So you can get into the reishi, shiitake, maitake, lion's mane, shaga. I mean, you can start naming, there's tons of mushrooms you can do. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And another big one is vitamin D. Make sure, we still see a deficiency in vitamin D in so many people, and D plays such a big role in the immune system. So get your vitamin D checked and kind of see, where you are and if you need to increase yours. And vitamin C.
Yeah.
And that liposomal C is your better form.
Right.
Are there any substitute vitamins for Z?
I'm going to say it's probably a Z-Pak.
Z-Pak.
Yeah, which is an antibiotic.
Right.
And so, there's not a direct substitute for a Z-Pak. There's a lot of things that help the immune system, just like we talked about some things just a moment ago about boosting that immune system, and that's always a really good thing, because if you've got a good, strong immune system, you may not need that Z-Pak, hopefully.
Right.
But if you do, if you're in that kind of a situation where you've got an infection that's bad enough,
if you got a bad infection, now some people just taking it for preventative and stuff, there's definitely something we have called Olivir.
Yeah.
Olivir is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasite.
Right.
So it is one of those things that's kind of like a catch-all for things that's in your body that shouldn't be there. But if you have a severe infection, you don't want, you want to probably take an antibiotic.
Yeah.
So,
but then it's about rebuilding.
and then you got to rebuild, yes, you got to rebuild your immune system, and you got to take the probiotics and take a lot when you finish. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Going back to gut health, how important is good gut health for a better functioning brain?
Oh, vital.
Yep.
Because, everybody thinks about things like, for years and years, people have been taking SSRIs, which are the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which they've shown, definitely helps the brain in some cases, many cases. So, but the thing is where is all of that serotonin made? In your gut. So if your gut's out of whack, your brain's going to be out of whack. And they always say, healthy gut, healthy brain.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of books being written now on the gut-brain connection.
Right.
So there's a lot connected, those two things.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What are some symptoms? Let's see. What are your thoughts on krill oil for omega vitamin?
I think krill is a great omega-3.
Well, it has omega-3s in it. Yeah.
Right. If you take enough of it, and most people don't take enough of it because it's expensive. And so I take krill because I just can't take omega-3. I don't care what kind, I cannot take fish oil. And so I do take krill, but I take 3,000 a day. So it's a pretty good amount. I don't take it a little bitty bit. He takes more of the omega-3s because you can get a much higher amount of EPA and DHA. Now, the EPA and DHA is maybe more absorbable in krill, but you still got to have enough of it when there's not as much in it.
Right.
I just look at all the krill that whales have to eat.
Exactly.
Think about it. Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, a tiny bit won't do it, but krill is good.
We have less than a minute. What are some symptoms of a thyroid disease?
Oh,
hair
gosh,
loss
there's
is a biggie. Losing
hair loss, weight gain, skin problems,
dry skin is a biggie.
depression, anxiety, name it. Brain problems, brain fog.
Pretty much anything's wrong with you.
Yep.
All right, and next week?
Next week, we're going to do a show on allergies. Since everything is yellow outside, we're going to talk about allergies.
All right. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always email them in to me at jtaber@wlox.com. And find some information on Facebook as well from Doctors of Nutrition. And subscribe to their YouTube feed, their YouTube channel. And we will see you again next Monday morning here for another live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Have yourself a wonderful week.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.